Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Scientologist propaganda sent to most schools in Australia. Posted November 22nd, 2009. DVD sent to schools, a Church of Scntology building in Sydney's CBD. An international group sponsored by the Church of Scntology says it has been targeting children in schools across Australia for at least 3 years. The Youth for Human Rights group has been distributing DVDs and brochures that spread its message about rights and named Scntology founder L. Ron Hubbard as a leader on the issue alongside Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King. The New South Wales Education Minister confirmed yesterday that primary schools had been ordered not to hand out the material, but a volunteer from the group has revealed its efforts are far more widespread than the state government appears to have suspected. Always targeting children. Tara Kuru, 25, was encouraged by the cult of Scientology to contact the ABC to hose down concerns about the material, but her attempt is likely to backfire. Most schools in Australia would have at least seen the booklet once or twice, she said. For like 9 out of 10, I've had nothing but positive responses. I'm not even going to say anything to that crap. Propaganda. The material funded by the cult of Scientology outlines the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights and directs readers and viewers to contact the Youth for Human Rights group, which obviously everyone listening to this knows they don't have any care about anybody's human rights. In the plural, I mean. Information about the cult of Scientology's involvement in the DVDs and brochures is left to the fine print. Ms. Kuru says the declaration is clear enough. The fact that the funding is provided by the cult of Scntology is not hidden at all, she said. In all the work that I've done, I've never promoted Scntology. NSW Education Minister Verity Firth has described the material as a marketing exercise for Year 6 students. I don't know how old a Year 6 student would be. A spokeswoman says the minister only found out Friday from a Sydney journalist that the material had been sent to some of the state's primary schools. She ordered the education department to email all primary school principals, reminding them the church was not allowed to conduct activities in the state's public schools. But the NSW government has been aware of Youth for Human Rights at least since March 2007, when the group held a seminar at Sydney's Parliament House and distributed the brochures to teenage participants. Just trying to figure out who said teenage participants. Ms. Kuru says the group has sent the material to most primary and secondary schools over the past 3 years. Recruitment exercise. Federal Independent Senator Nick Xenophon says the admission shows governments across Australia need to be more vigilant against Scientologists. They're not being upfront about their affiliations, he said. This shouldn't be used as a recruitment mechanism for new members of the cult of Scntology. The senator is pushing for a federal inquiry into the cult's tax-free status, as well as allegations of abuse, forced abortions, and imprisonment, fraud, and blackmail. He suggests the religion has been plagued by misconduct since its foundation. Putting L. Ron Hubbard in the same league as Martin Luther King and Mahatma Gandhi is laughable, but it's also very serious in the context of the sort of things that L. Ron Hubbard got up to when he was running the cult of Scntology, Senator Xenophon said. But Ms. Kuru says the Scntology founder and science fiction author deserves to be on the group's list of famous human rights leaders because he's made some very profound help toward human rights. Like what? Going back into the things that he did, he wants people to promote the Universal Declaration of Human Rights because that's a basic of life. That's how people get along in life, and that's like the foundation of the rules for human existence, she said. That didn't even make any sense. People contribute to human rights in many different ways. I don't know why they have to respond to all of these articles. I mean, I know why, but it's not, to me, it doesn't seem like balanced reporting. Ms. Kuru says she has personally approached several schools with the DVDs and brochures. A Sydney primary school has confirmed it received the material and threw it out. Yes. It's one school. But NSW Primary Schools Principals Association President Jeff Scott says a reference to Scientology could have gone unnoticed at other schools. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's possible, but generally, if there are things that are likely to be controversial, it raises a little concern in the minds of principals to check out the source of the material, and I guess on this occasion there have been some concerns expressed, Mr. Scott said. Scientology's background. The cult of Scntology describes Youth for Human Rights as a secular organization. Ms. Kuru grew up in a family of Scientologists, but says she is no longer a member of the cult and now has a Christian husband and a 1-year-old son. She says she follows some aspects of Scntology, but keeps her mind open about religion. That sounds real wild right there. The 25-year-old from Sydney says she discovered Youth for Human Rights by coincidence, of course. It also sounds like they're just trying to get out of liability. 5 years ago, when she was researching human rights on the internet. Well, if she was still a Scientologist, they don't allow you to be on the internet. She says she went to the group's conference in New York in 2004 and decided to join. This sounds like a cockamamie story. When asked by the ABC how old she was at the time, Ms. Kuru misstated her age, first saying she was 17. Upon questioning, she said she was 18. before deciding she was nearly 19. Afraid of like some kind of legality there. If she was nearly 19 in 2004, Tara Kuru would be 24 this year. Asked how she would respond to those who may doubt her story, she said, "I don't care." Oh. This article's all over the place. What religion I was brought up in doesn't matter. This is so typical Scntology. She said if I was helping World Vision, which has a very Christian background, which they promote, why would it matter? I'm helping people, like saving the world. Miss Kuru said she had neither experienced nor heard of allegations of the kind tabled by Senator Xenophon in Parliament last week. Yeah, because as a Scientologist, you are completely isolated from the world. Miss Kuru says Youth for Human Rights has chapters in most Australian states. That's scary. With 20 to 100 members each, and 130 chapters internationally. She says the group has 30 sponsors in Australia and overseas on top of the church cult of Scntology. Most of them are not even Scientologists. They really are trying to what is the word I'm looking for? They're trying to get away from it being Scientology. They're just interested in Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Of course they are. Being promoted, she said. I personally know of about 3 people in Sydney. One of them is a lady who works in a prison, and she has no association to Scientology. How many times she keeps saying this? I think that's funny. She's just a person who gave her money towards helping to print booklets because she's interested in people knowing about human rights as well. I know of another local business being a convenience store, and they have helped provide funding. And also a Chinese business within the city of Sydney, helping to promote the use for human rights in the Chinese community. Oh, so they're hitting China now. None of these people are Scientologists. Of course they're not. Ms. Kuru says she believes Senator Xenophon is to blame for the sudden interest in her group. She wants to water down the community's fears about Youth for Human Rights, but her claims might just cause the concerns to swell. Okay, guys, I will make sure to leave the link in the description box. Peace.